Hi guys, welcome. It's time to make another how to install ArcoLinux video because some things have changed to our Calamares installer, as you will see in 6 days from now. So, you know the release cycle, we first put everything on AAG and that's in like 6 days, and later on we'll release it on the 1st of January. The official release will be the 1st of January 2022. So a week in advance you get them already, and all we do is copy paste them over, or actually move them from one place to the other, and voila, we have released it. The thing is, what you need to know is that Calamares changed. This is still the same. So what you see here is the BIOS option. It's nice, it's graphical, it's a beautiful logo, and UEFI is the newer way of booting, and it's black, and you see exactly the same line. So look at what it says. Open source means proprietary is another term they use. We do not use NVIDIA drivers, basically. That's what it says. Open source is use the drivers from Linux. But in this line, we stick or we keep the nouveau NVIDIA drivers. The next line, we remove the NVIDIA drivers. The line is there because some of our users reported if it's there, I can't boot. So that's your option. Open source, meaning it's going to include Intel, AMD, but no NVIDIA drivers. Next line is NVIDIA proprietary, meaning it's going to go to nvidia.com and get the drivers basically. But the newer NVIDIA cards, right, need the NVIDIA driver. But the older guys need NVIDIA 340, 470, and I believe 390, right? Those are the numbers that are required, the drivers, and each set contains different hardware, drivers for different hardware. So here we've done exactly the same thing. Give you NVIDIA, the normal NVIDIA file, which is going to be the NVIDIA DKMS. That's important to know. We've switched to NVIDIA DKMS since we are playing, we are learning, and we're switching between Linux kernel, Linux LTS, Linux Zen, Linux hardened, figuring things out. And with NVIDIA DKMS, doesn't matter. No black screen. That's the main thing, right? We don't want the users to end up in a black screen. Minus DKMS ensures that each time there is a kernel coming in, it's rebuilt. It takes a bit longer. Well, that's the downside. But upside is we don't get as much people saying, I have a black screen, because we have moved now in the January release to NVIDIA DKMS. So these are all your options. And what we've done to avoid issues, we've done the following. If you launch one of these two, you're actually saying, I don't want NVIDIA. I don't have it. Don't have NVIDIA, don't want it. So you won't have an NVIDIA selection in Calamares. If you're saying this, 2 lines, you will have an NVIDIA selection. NVIDIA is there. If you choose this, whether you choose beginner or advanced installation, it will be there. It's on the ISO, otherwise you can't boot. Some of our users said, I need to have NVIDIA driver on the ISO or else I can't boot. That's that. It will use NVIDIA driver. These guys will use open source, and if available, the Nouveau driver. And this guy will use open source without the Nouveau driver. So it's all about options, and this is the very last fallback thing. You just Google it. No mode set is actually basically saying whatever, no driver included, and you get a very, very simple small screen, but at least you have something graphical, and then later on you can install it and figure out what drivers you need. So those are the options. So open source no NVIDIA, NVIDIA and NVIDIA without Nouveau, the NVIDIA open source drivers, and those are the things you need to figure out. If you choose Calamares, you won't see NVIDIA. Sorry, if you see the first 2 lines, you won't see in Calamares NVIDIA choices, since you chose not to go there. And if you choose NVIDIA, you'll see it NVIDIA. Hope that makes sense. So let's go for a show, showing what we mean. If all fails, it's very simple. Use the beginner installation, right? It goes wrong with selecting all kinds of things that do not work together. It's all about knowledge in the end. So beginner installation is always super simple. It's the installation that other distros give you. It tells you the language, where you live, the keyboard, erase disk and all that, your name, and that's it. And then you get the summary, you install and done. That's what most distros give you, and then you're out. The advanced installation gives you more selection, which needs more information, more intelligence, more choices, so more things can go wrong. Here we choose the kernel. Linux kernel is already installed by default, so you don't have to go into this selection to have a working system. Use the beginner and it will work. NVIDIA will not be there because we've selected it. We've told him we don't want NVIDIA proprietary service sources or drivers. We just want open source. That's what you've chosen in BIOS or UEFI. So if we choose that, we only see the open source stuff. Do we need to click them? No. If it's an ISO of 6 months ago, yeah, maybe, right? But later on, afterwards, you can do an update and they come in anyway. So NVIDIA, not included. That's the message. Control R, I'm rebooting. I'm going to the third option. NVIDIA, Nouveau driver, still included. So the open source NVIDIA is included. If you boot up this way, it will show you another, well, what we call a net module in Calamares, a new page telling you you've chosen NVIDIA. So here it is. Here are the settings for NVIDIA. So that's different between all the previous releases. That's that particular thing. We hope that will avoid lots of issues, plus the NVIDIA DKMS, hopefully that will avoid lots of issues. Kernel, same thing. Choose your kernel. Next. Open source, same thing. If you install now with the ISOs of November or September, this is what you get, because we have a special way of installing. It gets this file from the internet. If you want to see the NVIDIA options we had, just say don't use internet and it won't get the new file in. Next, this is it. This is new. If you select NVIDIA, you see the tab NVIDIA, and it only is an overview of things that matter. But if you know ArcoLinux, this is really not necessary. NVIDIA DKMS is already installed on the system, and if you choose here Linux LTS kernel and you install it, then NVIDIA DKMS will take care of it, whether you click on this or not. So it's just there for people having, oof, I've got something to click. It's there to install. And it's DKMS, meaning the driver that we get from NVIDIA will be built if there is a new kernel coming in, and whatever kernel is coming in, one of the 4. Now the people who are more well versed in NVIDIA still find their way here to the NVIDIA and the LTS if they want to. All right. So NVIDIA at this point in time is installed. It is already installed. That's why going for the beginner is exactly the same thing. as not clicking anything here. That's maybe I've responded that to somebody online. Not clicking anything in advanced is the same thing as beginner. So here you get more options, but more things can go wrong if you keep selecting the wrong things and they work against each other. Then we have the SDDM, LightDM, GDM, LXDM, and the new guy, Li, is there, login manager. If you want that one, that's fine. But basically, we use all desktops SDDM, installed by default. You can choose some more themes. It's there for your convenience, right? If it's an ISO of 6 months ago, then yeah, probably SDDM has changed. So, okay, download it immediately on the future system. But again, if you boot up again, you update anyway, so you'll get the new SDDM in. But it's there also as a feel safe. Okay, I've got it installed. Of course, if you got internet, otherwise nothing will be installed. Simple as that. This is in fact a net install. Everything that you have here is coming from the internet. If you want dusk, fine. You need to have internet. It's not on the ISO. Next. And you just keep on selecting. We've added more stuff. Make it more visual, but actually we put a lot of work in ArcoLinux. There are lots of packages specifically created by ArcoLinux, and some of them are already on our distro. Again, showing you that here it is, right? This is marketing, so to speak. There it is, but TweakTool is already installed, at least on this ISO. But like this thing, TweakTool, is installed everywhere. Yeah, Xs-Lts, you know, voila, there it is. What you see is what you get. What you see is gonna go on the ISO, simple as that. And if you want to have if this again is an old ISO, it will just download the latest ArcoLinux TweakTool kit and put it on the future system. That's all it is. But it's already there. Okay, what's that? Can I get rid of that? Voila, I think it's killed now. And the wallpapers are here, SDDM, so a nice summary of what ArcoLinux brings to the table, basically. Next. Some elements have been added. You check them out. If you recognize any of the things and say, oh, I want to have that, go and have a look. All nicely together in folders, well, in pages. They say, okay, all the audio, video. There's a new one I remember in here. Qt Webflix Git is one that's new. So things that we have on the repo is things that we can put in here. Simple as that. If it's from the AOR, we need to build it for you and put it on our repo. And that's what we do. We have around 350, 400 packages that we built for you. Sudo pacman -s, it means for you. Sweet theme here. Icons, a lot of Sardi icons. People don't know that, but we have over 100 variations of the Sardi icons. One of them probably you're gonna like. But if we don't show it, marketing, right? If you don't show it, you don't know it. So that's what we have added as well. The games, nothing changed. Terminals, nothing changed. File managers, all good. I do believe HP lib is new. Figured that out, that it was not available for the HP printers only. This is new. One of the users on YouTube asked me to add more accessibility utility software. I took a look around and this is what we have as selection. If there's more, please let me know. I'll just add it as an option. Et voila, you install it, you use it. More things here as well. I've added again more of a marketing kind of thing. People thinking that Yay bin is not installed or that Paru bin is not installed. It is already installed. Just as a fail save again. Hey, it's there. it's there. And if you think you need to have the very last thing, well, voila, 6 months later, this ISO is 6 months old, you'll get the very latest power bin in immediately before you do any updates. And so on and so on. O-class speed test is also a new thing, but it conflicts with this guy, so you need to choose. But it won't break Calamares at all, but I know that already. There is backpack that's new, I think. Fan control GUI kit is new for those who need it. Next. Nothing new here, I think. And next, and a little flame shot thingy, Git version. And that's it. You're through. That's the normal thing, right? Going for the Belgian, going to next, erase, make your decision, swap, no hibernate, small swap, and go install your system. And then we're through. This is the new video, new explanation how to install it. Every ISO out there starts with this. This is the template. Every single ISO is exactly the same thing. So I'm not going to make the same video for ArcoLinux XS, ArcoLinux Xs-Lts. I'm going to make maybe one for ArcoLinux D because the concept is different there. ArcoLinux D, if you don't select anything, you've got a base installation. The guys who remember Antergos base, we had an option and we ended up in a black screen. sudo pacman -s. I think Xorg is already there, but then it's okay. SDM, LightDM, XFC, Mate, the choices. So it's a very minimal basic or base installation ArcoLinux D if you don't select anything in the advanced, right? If you just say, let's go for the base install, which is for me one of the super features that you just can have a plain ArcoLinux with Xorg because everybody needs Xorg, and then you build up. That's fun too, but that's level 7. We have a learning path, a learning curve, and that's later, right? First, get to know ArcoLinux XL. Start with that, all the software that's available. What's all this software? How does it work? There's so many software out there. ArcoLinux XS is smaller, without lots of software. You've made your choices. You know what browser you need. You know what editor you need, etc., etc. Your workflow. And then maybe you can go find your other desktops. It's all included on our websites, our learning curve, how we see that a student of Linux should move through the learning phases, but it's entirely of course up to you. It's freedom all around, but suggestions can be made, right? That whether you follow it or not, it's up to you. So I'll just pause the video here and let's see it reboot. So it finished already quite some time ago, and then we reboot. Now, if you're in VirtualBox, remember, go down. Don't start from the first line again. Go to boot existing OS or get rid of the ISO in VirtualBox. Now, remember, within VirtualBox, we selected NVIDIA, so what we get? A nice working system. What do we have? NVIDIA on board. If you select NVIDIA, you'll get NVIDIA. Not the regular NVIDIA, NVIDIA DKMS. So that's the idea. Start in the beginning with a proper line. First 2 lines, open source and an open source for NVIDIA. No Calamares, no information about NVIDIA because you don't want that. Line 3, line 4, you want NVIDIA, you'll see open source plus NVIDIA page. It's not needed. It's there for your comfort, for your feeling, for your safety, for feelings actually. Because if you do the beginner installation, it's gonna be there as well. But it's gonna be the NVIDIA DKMS. So if you know already, I need the 340, the 470, then voila, there is no need, it won't work. NVIDIA drivers, or every package contains the drivers of the specific hardware. So you need to figure that out. Arch, Wiki, NVIDIA. All right, I'm out. I hope everything is clear. There is already an update to be done. GPIC, Inkscape, Qubit, Torrent, all is there. So lots of updates. Typically Linux, so if you're low or typically ArcoLinux, if bandwidth is an issue, right, then Arch is not for you. Simple. No way around it. It is always a lot of updates that we get in, and for us no issue. But if it is for you, there are other distros. All right, I'm out. Enjoy ArcoLinux. You see also the new things here. So this is there, DKMS. This line is there because we chose NVIDIA DKMS. And although I'm on VirtualBox, it is a file that's not used. Like so many files on your system that you never use. VirtualBox is well, is something different, right? It doesn't contain NVIDIA, so it doesn't look at it. But as you see, if you start building it or updating it, it needs to be rebuilt. And this is your failsafe. This, if every Linux, LTS, Linux Zen, Linux Hardened, when they come in, it rebuilds it. This ensures you that you don't have a black screen. So it takes a little bit longer. Who cares? Let the terminal do its job and reboot afterwards. All right, enjoy.